earning over $200,000 in commissions per year as a high-ticket sales rep by using power versus force. The paradigm, the idea from David R. Hawkins in his book, Power versus Force, the hidden determinants of human behavior. The ideas in this book are what I use to make a whole bunch of cash. And I think a lot of sales reps should and can and don't tap into spirituality, tap into the identity, the energy version of sales, the energy paradigm of sales to make a whole bunch of money. I see a lot on technique. I teach a lot of technique. I teach a lot about objection handling. I teach a lot about reframing, frameworks, discovery, how to create compliance, how to pitch, all these things. I go into technical details. If you've seen my stuff, you know that. There's another layer to the game. And it's not this woo-woo spiritual hippie layer. So if you hear me saying spirituality or energy in this video, in this training, don't block your ears and block yourself to it, okay? If you're here already and you haven't clicked off, it means you're probably more open-minded to learning new ideas and learning how to apply them to your sales game and to make a bunch more money. But you, as a sales rep, you are your skill set, right? Your ability to perform, your ability to close deals, your ability to execute on the sales process at the highest level and make money for a company, help prospects make changes, how you make your money. So I want to give you every single tool in the book, and that's why we're going to look at the idea of power versus force here. Here's the idea. Most sales reps today, and I've seen this with a lot of people I'm training, I used to make this mistake myself, both in the dating space, trying to connect with women. I would make this mistake a lot, and then that translated into sales, and then I quickly corrected it because I understood the game very quickly, because I had been in the dating space, also studying human behavior and communication. But most sales reps operate from force, not power, okay? Most sales reps are relying either on aggressive manipulation. There's that. And manipulation is great, by the way. I like manipulation. I just don't attach it to anything negative because what we teach, a lot of that is manipulation, right? But they operate on aggressive manipulation, some level of pressure, ego-driven tactics. And there's a lot of force behind it. When people learn about objection handling, they learn about framing. A lot of what I see sales reps doing nowadays is so based on, let me try to get something from the other person. So I'm winning and they're losing, right? And the frame that they're coming from is someone's going to win, which is going to be me, and someone's going to lose. Haha, I beat you. I beat this person at their own game. I got to take their cash. Screw them. I'll try not to curse early in the video so it doesn't get flagged or whatever issues we'd have. The thing that's interesting about selling through force versus power, which is ultimately what we want. We want powerful sales. We don't want a force. We want it to come to us naturally, and I'm going to explain to you how. We're going to go very deep here. The thing is, it works in the short term, but long term, it depletes, it kills your energy. It kills your energy, and it kills your relationships. One of the reasons that I've been able to build so quickly a business that's doing $500,000 a year, and we're on pace to do more, we're growing very, very quickly, our sales consulting and our sales training business. One of the reasons I've been able to do that, coming from being a closer, I was still a closer while I started this business, so I wasn't even doing the business full time. I was just coaching a couple guys, small group. We sold out, made $15K in 2 days in our first week of training. And then I started helping business owners, consulting for them, built a team, and now we make a bunch of money. Is because the relationships that I built very, very early on when I started creating content on YouTube, about 1.5 years ago now, and I started putting out value, was purely based on value, asking nothing in return. And that's still the model that I use now. We don't ask anything in return on YouTube. I give everything away for free. Everything. Except for my time. My time is not free. You have to pay for my time. But it was relationship based. And we operate, the entire business, we operate with our sales reps, the people I train, people like you who I help make money, and I teach them my formula to make money as a sales rep. How you get good. We use power. What I want you to do, and what we're going to look at here, is how to sell from a place of higher consciousness or high vibration energy, okay? Operating through power, what it means is that you focus on selling specifically through authenticity, specifically through empathy, okay? And I'm not going to go into some sobby shit here. Don't worry. We're going to get real hardcore. Through authenticity, through empathy, and service. That's the shift in the game. Right? It's a new way of selling that a lot of the old school sales techniques don't work around this because it was so based on just surface level, let's try to get something, not actually let's serve the person that we're communicating with, and through service handle every fucking objection in the book. Everything that's thrown at us, we're going to handle. everything that's thrown at us, we're going to handle. But previously it was, let's handle it because, yeah, the sales guy needs to handle it for the sake of it or because we want to take the person's money, right? Whereas now we handle it because I need to get this person out of their own way because my responsibility and my duty as a sales rep is to help them make change, and I'm in that position of leadership, right? It's a consciousness shift. When you start to align with truth, when you start to align with integrity, your clients are going to become significantly primed to buy. Your prospects are going to become primed to purchase. So I'll give you an example. There's something we've been teaching recently that's called dialogue. So one of the things I give my clients, we give our sales reps, is how to reframe. Okay, so let's say that you get a guy on a call. Let's say you're selling fitness, okay? You get a guy on a call, and he's 5K fitness program, and he's talking about how he thinks he can do a lot of this himself. Okay, let's pretend the guy is on the call and he's like, yeah, the journey's been good. I just wanted to have a call with you guys and see kind of what you do. But really, I've been having a lot of success by myself. So I'm not really interested in buying anything. But I think that, I can do this generally myself. I've been doing okay recently, but I just wanted to have a call and find out more about what your team does. Okay. I'll give you an example, right? That needs to be reframed. We can't allow the perspective of, I don't need help and I'm not here to make a buying decision. We can't allow that to continue on the call, because if we accept that, we're accepting the frame of change does not need to be made. I don't want to accept that frame because that's not going to put me as a closer in the best position to help this person who probably does need help when it comes to his health, or else if he did not need help, he wouldn't have cared about what we do and wouldn't have wanted to see it on the call. It doesn't make sense. Why would he give me an hour of his time if everything was going perfectly? So my job as a closer now, and we'll do this from a high vibration, high consciousness state, and I'll explain what that means in a bit. We'll go into detail. High consciousness just means doing it the right way, okay? Doing it from a place where you're not trying to take, but you're trying to give. You're operating on a frequency that is of service, that is of help, okay? But what I'm going to do, and I'll do this savagely, super savagely. I'm a gangster with this. What I'm going to do is I need to make sure that he operates under the frame of, I actually do need help. So an example of some scripting to get him there would be, gotcha, John, not an issue at all. I'm just curious because you came here for 45 to an hour of your time. Is everything going perfectly for you with fitness and you're completely good? Because if so, I don't think I can help you at all, even in this conversation. There's number one. So we're already starting to play with the idea that there is a misalignment between what he ultimately needs, which is probably a mentor or some kind of coach when it comes to fitness, versus what he's presenting on the call. So his logical grounds are going to get significantly weaker already to start. He'll answer it. He'll say, no, things have been going okay. I've been dieting more, losing a bit of weight, and I just wanted to see what you guys do just because, there's a lot of info out there, and I think you guys do some cool stuff, but I've been taking a lot of action pretty much for myself and doing quite well. We'll dig deeper into it. Yeah, I'm super happy you've been doing well. Have you lost all the weight that you wanted to lose yet? And you're kind of in a perfect position now, or is that you're not 100% where you want to be? We'll ask him that question. That's an easy one. He'll say he's not where he wants to be. That's obvious. You say, but hey, it's a work in progress. Absolutely. How old is he? Maybe he's 40 something. Let's say I'll ask how old he is. 40 something. Gotcha. And I guess in an ideal world, what kind of weight do you want to be at? All right. Let's say he says, I want to shave down 20, 25 pounds. Okay, cool. And I guess in your experience, have you found that mentoring, coaching is something that you're aligned with just for your life? Not even fitness. I'm not saying about us. Just I'm curious how you proceed with things. Just, mentoring, coaching, is that a thing you believe in, or how do you feel about that? He'll say how he feels. Most people are going to agree with that. Mentoring, coaching is a thing that would help me. It's something that's good. So we have another easy little yes there. We're moving towards this final concession that he should make, which is I am open to getting help if it makes sense, right? That's what I need him to concede, because if he doesn't concede that, I won't be able to pitch him because he's already set a frame of I'm not here to buy, right? So then now he's conceded he could use mentoring and coaching. Then I'd say, yeah, well, how important is fitness to you right now? I guess your health. What priority does that take in the grand scheme of things? You have three. You have health, wealth, and relationships. So are you making decent money right now? Let's hope he'd say yes. If he's cooked financially, yeah, he's probably disqualified. But if he's business is going okay, and relationships, that's all right. Let's pretend he had a divorce, but he's going on some dates. He's doing okay. She wants to get back out there even. Yeah, it's taking a bit of a hit. I'm a little bit slow. Stick with me, guys. I'm going somewhere. I'm showing you a thing. I'm giving you a lesson here, okay? And let's say, dating has been going decently, but, that's not his biggest priority. He's more so focused on health, which is what it should come back down to if he's on the call probably. And he'll say, yeah, health is something I want to prioritize now. So now we've gotten to an interesting point where he said he wants to prioritize this. He values mentorship and guidance. right? And he has a specific goal he wants to hit of losing 20, 25 pounds. So now what I'm going to do is ask him an even deeper question that's going to get his logic down to a basement where it doesn't make sense anymore for him to not need mentorship. So now we'll jump in again. He's answered those logistical questions, and I'll go again. So I'm just curious, John, when it comes to your health, since it is such a high priority for you, and it is, one of the most important things in your life right now, would you say that, having a coach, let's say you did have a coach and someone who was guiding you and holding your hand through the process, would that actually make your fitness journey worse, or would it actually make it better? Now it's really interesting because he's confronted with the idea where the crossroads of it's either not going to be good for me, really bad, or it wouldn't help me at all, or it is going to help. And if he says it helps, I'll say, why would it help you? Okay, so then is it helpful to be in a state of resistance to actually finding someone or potentially working with someone who can help you get there faster and take complete control of where you're at and go from decent to great? Right? Now we come up on the other side and we've built a new narrative and we have a dialogue with him around that new narrative and that new frame. This is power versus force. And we're going to get into a lot of training. This is going to be one of the longer videos. But that's an example of power versus force. We've now positioned him in a way where he doesn't have to, but he is more likely to comply with wherever direction we go on this call, because I have established that there is a need for change, a need for a mentor, a need for a coach, or at least a willingness for that to happen. So now I can pitch and we can get to that place, right? We can get to that point. And it'll be easier for me to get through. It'll be easier to have that dialogue with him later when it's time to pitch, when it's time to close, because I've set that frame earlier. But again, what I did was, instead of me trying to force my way there, right, using clunky old school tactics, what I use is power. I use the strength of framing. I use the strength of positioning. I use the strength of my words to get him there and to ease him there. And what I'll tell you is, and here's where we start to go deep into training. Gets a little more complex. Hopefully you can stick with me because I've got 9 points to get through. Okay, we got a lot here. So the level of consciousness that you operate at, the frequency in which you operate at as an individual is going to impact the way that you perform as a sales rep. Many sales reps that I see are stuck on a vibration of fear. A vibration of fear, and David R. Hawkins has these, I haven't read the book in a while, but he has this graph where it's like the levels of energy and the levels of consciousness. I think that's what it's called, the levels of consciousness. And he ranks them and gives them numbers from like level 100, number 100, and then like it goes to 200, 300, and it rises in vibration, right? So I think the highest level, again, I completely could be wrong. I didn't research all the numbers and stuff and bring them up before this session because I don't want to go so deep on the technical numbers. I want to go on the principle here. But I believe maybe the highest number is like 700, 800, highest level of vibration. And it's like, and that one's complete love and being, something like that, or gratitude, giving, something. That's the highest level of vibration, right? The lower vibration comes down from fear or anger, discontentment, all those kind of things, the low vibration energy. So a lot of sales reps that I've seen, that even some people who come and train with me, and we handle this very, very fast. They're stuck in a fear state, right? They're in a fear state where they're like, I have to prove something, or I have to defend myself, and I have to take a position on this call of, I'm not comfortable selling authentically because I actually either don't believe I deserve to make this money, or I don't believe that I'm good enough to lead you, or I just don't think the offer is good enough that I should close you. Seriously, this is a real thing, and I have to train my guys out of it, and we do deep work on this, right? The level of vibration that you operate under is going to influence the perception that your prospects have of you. So if you're operating under a vibrational frequency that's aligned with fear, that's aligned with trying to protect your own ego, right? And I'll give you a good example of this. Certain people who want to be, maybe this is you, certain sales reps who would rather be liked instead of paid. This used to be me. What was the vibration I was operating under, the level of consciousness? Fear. I was operating under fear, right? Because I would rather have been liked on a call than help someone make a change. That was my perception. That was my worldview. I just wanted to be liked. I wanted to get the validation of someone liking me on a call. And it did not help me, and it set my sales skills back. And I burned 3 to 4 months of my sales time, as a closer. I learned from it, of course. I'm glad I went through it. I had to go through that to become the sales guy that I am now, right? But I went through the state where I was so heavily in fear, and I was having these good conversations. I was vibing with people, flowing with them, but I was in a vibrational state of fear because I needed to be liked. And I didn't make money, and I stayed broke, right? The sales reps that I found that operate from a state of courage, from a state of responsibility, from a state of willingness, from a state of leadership, they tend to approach sales with way more confidence, way more curiosity, which means they want to actually know about the person they're speaking to and who they're speaking to. This is something that we call speaking to the person, not speaking through the script, selling the person, not just selling on the script. And they have a genuine desire and a genuine need and a genuine craving to actually help, right? Those are sales reps that are operating from a place of courage. Those are sales reps that are operating from a place of strength. Now, we're going to get into like training on how to actually do this, because what I want you to do is I want you to move from a force state, which is oftentimes grounded in fear or grounded in ego. I want you to move to a power state. The first thing we need to do, and stick with me here because we're going to get a little bit dense as I have my cigar clicker in my hand. It's nice to have something to fiddle with as I teach. The first thing that we want to do is let go of the ego-driven motivations behind your selling, right? So trying to prove yourself or trying to get validation or trying to just manipulate specific outcomes just for your own egoic gratification to say you did it. The biggest ones that I see, by the way, is trying to prove yourself or trying to get validation. I see a lot of sales reps who are so bottled up tight. They're either really bottled up tight or they're too jokey, too laughy, too nice because of that fear state. Because it's like, if I'm not overly joking or I'm not overly serious, right? Or if I leave the script a little bit and I start to show a little more of me and have a normal, genuine dialogue with this person, what will that mean about me? I might lose the sale. And I get it. I respect it. I'm happy that a lot of you want to do your jobs well, but it can't come from a place of a force-based position on your live sales calls. What we want to do, and here's my perspective going into every single call for the people that I close for my consulting, business, the people that I close for our protocols training, my mindset every single time, always, is how can I help this person make change in their lives? So when they come to me on the call from minute number 0, how can they leave, or second 0, how can they leave this call better than they came on? And I know most of the time, the way for them to leave better than they came on is for them to have a new action plan and a new path forward ahead. And how do they get that path? By buying. They get that path by purchasing the service I have or the service that the company I'm consulting for or closing for has. That's how they're going to leave the call better. Because our company, what we do, our service, this is the same with all of our sales reps, as an example, who pay us thousands of dollars to help them get to months of 15, 20K plus in commissions. The reason our people do well is because we're embodying this process in our sales process, right? We're embodying this frequency, I should say, in our sales process, right? The entire goal of every single sales call I get on, not just for my stuff, but the sales reps I train, their perspective, the offers that I've closed on, my perspective is always, how can I help this person get to where they need to be? How can they be different in about 45 minutes? How can they be different versus where they're at now? And in order for me to let that happen, I need to close them. But my mindset, the orientation of my consciousness is on service, not on selling. Does that make sense? I'm aligned with service. It's like, how can I serve? And in order to serve, I have to solve a problem. And by definition, solving a problem means I will close. Because when the problem, we have a new path to solve it, like, hey, the key that's going to unlock the door to this person's future, when we establish that, that comes from them having purchased. When they get onboarded with their coach, whether it's consulting, B2B sales, B2C, I don't give a fuck what it is, right? This person's life is going to change once they purchase. And I'm fully and fundamentally aware of that. Whereas a lot of sales reps aren't, because you're in that vibrational state of fear, that vibrational state of ego, where you're protecting yourself, where you're selling to just not get burnt. Right? When you're operating from a high vibration state, from a state of higher consciousness, it allows you to take more risks that other sales reps wouldn't take, because you're just having fun. You're having a great time with the process, right? You're leading to where you need to go. You're taking more risks, more challenges, because you're not afraid of getting burned, because you're not operating under fear. So me, as an example, when I do my sales calls, I'm a little bit of a dick. With love, right? I'll make a bunch of jokes, I'll crack some jokes, but then I get real grounded and I set some heavy standards. If some guy tells me on a sales call, yeah, I really don't care how much money I make, well, that doesn't make sense, brother. It genuinely doesn't make sense, because there's a certain life you want to live, and that life you want to live is attached to an income goal. It's attached to an income number. The numbers do matter. Absolutely they do. The reason I can have that conversation and have that dialogue is because I am operating from a position of that is what I need to do to help this person get out of his own way, which means I need to set standards, right? And by me accepting that responsibility from a high vibration state, I'm able to close more, which is why I ended up being the top closer on my dating offer, the top closer on any offer that I would go on, and why our people are the top closers on all their offers, right? It's because of that. It's because of that. It's because of that state. The way you train really, really, really matters. I'm going to transition into some of the technical to elevate you and get you better here. We're going to go even deeper. I hope you're with me still. We're going to go even deeper. Training under pressure creates a state of power, not a state of force. The way we train in protocols, I'll talk about what we do, and this can apply to your own model of how you train, whether you work with me or whether you work with someone else or whether you don't do anything, which is ridiculous. You should invest in yourself. But however you do this, I'm not selling you anything. This is how it works. What we do, our model, is not about forcing people to say yes. Our goal is to create closers who understand human nature very, very intimately and operate from the perspective of understanding and the perspective of mastery. Right? Does that make sense? I'll elaborate on it. When you're operating from a place of mastery because you understand the people that you're selling to, that in itself, the understanding, the awareness of the person, that gives you power, right? Because you understand human behavior, you understand persuasion. I have it on this whiteboard right here. It's a bit blurred, I think, because my camera's got that, that setting where it blurs a little bit of stuff in the back. But here, we ran 2 hours of training on this the other day. It's about reframing. It's about pre-framing objections and having people commit to pathways, like I demonstrated earlier, that actually help them make buying decisions and get zero objections, right? When you're communicating through power, you're also operating under the frequency of mastery. Mastery is not about, hey, what's the right sentence that I say to achieve XYZ result with the prospect? It's not about a sentence. It really is not. It has nothing to do with a sentence. It's not about like the script. The script is a tool. It's just a fucking tool. It's a weapon that can be in your hands to create change, yes. But mastery is the ultimate goal. And that's why we want to understand human behavior. Here's what I'll tell you, because I got something good for you, a little treat for you. I have something called the Protocols newsletter. Some of you are already on it. Some of you are not. If you're not and you're new, hey, welcome. Protocols newsletter is what's the best way to explain it? It's a consistent drip of value to your email inbox from me and my mind directly to you. There's no copywriter writing this. It's me sitting on my dining in my living room, right? Or sitting in a cafe and coming up with the best version of all the teachings that I give to my protocols clients and packaging them in a very concise, high impact format and delivering it to you in written or video form. Right. So what I have on the newsletter is a lot of trainings and videos on objections, on leadership, on mindset, on frameworks that I do not share on YouTube because it's not enough. It's way too much fucking value for YouTube. That's the reason why. And it's stuff that I can't share on YouTube because it just goes too dense and it would lose people. The only people who would actually use it are people who want to get good at this. Right. So on YouTube, I kind of broaden things and I don't go as deep as I normally would. The newsletter is one level deeper. The deepest level, of course, is training with me, but I'm not offering that to you here. The Protocols newsletter is free to join. The link is below, and I drip value to your inbox daily or weekly. All right, sometimes I'm just putting out stuff every day. I have thoughts that I want to share. Sometimes I take a bit of time and then drip one out 3 days later. Right, but it's just up to me when I want to drip value out. And there's a whole world of training in there on the psychology of objections, the psychology of leadership, how to frame things, right? Communication structure, scripting, intense training that you will not find really from anyone else on YouTube, unless you go maybe work with, communications experts in other fields potentially. But my background is communication and leadership, and I combine that into sales, and that's the frame of how we teach everything. And I give that to you on the Protocols newsletter. The link to join is down below. It's completely free. You have nothing to lose. I'm not selling you anything. You just put in your email, and I'm sending you emails immediately. Done. Just value. No pitching. Nothing like that. Just value. Okay? Check it out. Let's continue. How do we activate this? How do we activate a high vibration state of consciousness in our sales process, in our sales game? Where's the place it comes from? How do we do this? It starts with the power of acceptance, the power of letting go. And this is something I had a lot of resistance to for a long time because I know how to let go. Yes, I studied a lot of Eckhart Tolle. If you don't know who that is, read the book The Power of Now. My favorite one from him is A New Earth, actually. This is a spiritual teacher, spiritual and mindfulness teacher named Eckhart Tolle. All right. The power of acceptance and letting go is huge, because what you're trying to do, what a lot of sales reps do, is they're like, I have to hit these targets, and I'm afraid that I'll mess up, not be good enough, and I won't hit the targets. So you remove yourself from the present moment. You remove yourself from the stillness of the game of sales, the stillness of the conversation, the stillness of the dialogue, and instead you go into a place of force, right? I have to force this. I have to force this to work. And you don't let the game come to you. The game, I really mean the game of sales, the game of communication, the game of leadership. You don't let it come to you. But what I train my guys to do, and what I do myself, and we've made tens of millions of dollars for business owners. Our sales reps have closed that, and they've gotten paid a combined millions of dollars in commissions. Myself making hundreds of thousands of dollars in commissions, right? What I've done is I've trained myself to accept the present moment, accept the moment in my conversations, the stillness, the conversation, the dialogue. The stillness is in the dialogue. Me just having a back and forth with a person, figuring out who this person is and where they're coming from and what they need. Who are they? And then tying in all the work that I've done on my role plays, all the work that I've done on studying my frameworks, all the call reviews, I tie that in to the present moment and to just being one with the moment of communication. I know this is some dense stuff, guys. I know it is. And some of you may not even be ready for it. I just want you to know where my head is at. All right? Because this is what we do to make change. This is how we help our people. And I'm giving it to you here. Letting go of the desperation, it's kind of a paradox, right? Because you want to close. On one hand, you're like, I want to close, I want to make money, I want to put myself in the best position to succeed. But the desperation of wanting that oftentimes takes you away from doing that as good as possible, doing that as effectively as possible. Right? So what I'm doing is I'm removing myself actively from desperation, going into a place of stillness and sitting with my prospect and what they're giving me, the dialogue, the back and forth, the energy, the exchange of value, or not value, I should say, I'm providing value to them, but the exchange of ideas. And I'm walking them through a process, not from a place of, I have to make this work, but from a place of I'm here to serve, I'm here to make change, I'm here to help you. All right? Letting my craft, letting my craft of scripting, letting my craft of tone, letting my craft of what I practice on my role plays, allowing all that to come into a process that's almost like a meditation. My live calls feel like a meditation. They really do. And that's why I love doing sales. My live calls feel like I'm meditating. I'm completely at peace and completely present and still with the prospect. I want to explain to you this idea of the map of consciousness. And that's what it's called, because I have it in my notes, but I didn't scroll down and remember what I wrote. But yeah, it's the map of consciousness, not the scale. Figure out where you're operating on this scale. Are you coming from a place of pride? Are you coming from a place of fear? Are you coming from a place of courage? Are you coming from a place of service? Like, where are you coming from? What I want to do before all my calls is I want to almost elevate my state, but not by amping myself up. I want to feel grounded and I want to feel still within the process. So I tell all my sales reps this, guys who are training with me, guys who put in a lot of work. Shout out you guys, you know who you are. Shout out Henry, Jordan, Stavros. You guys know who you are. Chris, Daniel, my guys, my top guys, right? Ecomm. What I'll do is I sit and I'm present with the call itself. I'm present with the activity that I'm about to go into, and my mind is empty. I tell this to my guys all the time. We just talked about this the other day on one of our lives, that when I'm selling, I don't know what I'm going to say next. No joke. I don't know what I'm going to say next. If you ask me in the middle of a role play, and what would you say to this? I'm like, dude, I don't fucking know. I have no idea what I'm going to say next because my mind is empty because I'm in a state of extreme presence and stillness. The only thing that I'm aligned with is just how can I help this person? Genuinely, bottom of my heart. When people ask me, what would you say to this? I don't know. I have to actually actively try to role play it. Then I'm like, okay, hold on. Let me snap out of being present and let me go into coach mode and see how I can help you. Then I'll figure out what to say and we'll do it live, But when I'm on live calls, I'm not thinking 3 or 4 steps ahead consciously. Right? And the way you get here, again, is by training aggressively. The way you get here is by memorizing scripting initially, yes. When you first get into the game, you're going to have to memorize something. You're not going to be completely present because presence is earned. It takes time to get there. But the place I want to get to, especially for you sales reps that are at 3 to 5K, you know, this, or, you know, even 6, 7, you're trying to break past those 5-figure months, 10K, 20K, even 30K months. Those of you that are trying to get there, a lot of it comes down to the presence you have and your ability to deliver good scripting, deliver your process while in a state of intense presence, in a state of intense calm. And most sales reps, I'm telling you, most sales reps cannot do this. They may appear calm, but they're not actually calm. It's an act. A lot of them, it's an act, and you know who you are. If you seem calm and you know that your calls aren't going the way they're supposed to, but everyone thinks, oh, he's good, and you know your fucking close percentage is at 25, which is, my opinion, not where it should be for on a lot of offers. I think you could hit 35, 40, which is the standard I like to keep for our people. Our KPI is 50, by the way, within protocols, you know? But what happens is, if you're constantly in this state of trying, people can feel that from you. So this is why, going back to what I was saying, a lot of sales reps think that they're present, think that they're calm, but they're not, and it's evident in the way they deliver. It's evident in them getting thrown off their lines of questioning, their lines of scripting. There's a lot that's missing because there's a lack of presence. I'll end with this. What your goal is on your calls is you want to influence people. You want to guide them. You do not want to control them, right? So influence is guiding the prospect to find their own strength and find their own willingness to make change as quickly as possible, as actively as possible, and set themselves, their business, their family, their health, their future in the best position to succeed. Whereas force, aka the control side of things, is trying to pressure or trying to fight your way into compliance using technique and over strategizing, right? That's the difference. One limits you because the force limits you because you're always like, what are they going to give me? You're always on the defense, right? They say this, I have to say this. What's the answer to this? What's the script for this? What's the word track for this? Right? Because lines aren't going to save you, my friend. They will not save you. Your goal, and this is the goal I have for you, my friend, and I have for all my people that I train, everyone that I work with, is to become a force of nature, not someone who is relying on manipulation, who is relying on I have to, right? Or I have to find a way to finesse this. But become a force of nature which is powerful. Become powerful. Become strong as a closer. If that happens through presence, that happens through groundedness, that happens through stillness. That's what I want for you. And that's why I made this training today. It's a little different than what we normally do. Maybe it didn't land for you. Maybe it did. I don't know. This is going to hit and land for who it lands for, you know? That's all. I wanted to share that with you. It's been on my mind. We got some really good stuff coming out. I got a big whiteboard. You can see it maybe I'll move the camera around so you can see it. There we go. You see it over there? Got a big whiteboard. So I'm going to start making some giant whiteboard videos, you know. You know how we do it. You know how everyone's doing it on YouTube. I have some really good stuff to share. We'll put that up soon. It's going to be a good time. Otherwise, that's it. If you'd like to learn more about my stuff and you know, actually ramp up your skill set, go join the Protocols newsletter. It's free, and it's a way you can look at what I do, go deeper into how we do things, into our process, into our frameworks on objections, our frameworks on leadership, get access to all of it at a very, very high level. We have it. We give it all away on the Protocols newsletter. Check that out there. There's a link below to book a call with my team if that's something you feel like you're ready for, if you want us to help you get to 15, 20K plus per month. It's not even a sales call. Strategy call. It's 15 minutes where we'll see if we can help you, and then we go from there. That's that. Goodbye. Take care. Go make some money. Enjoy your week. Produce, work hard, and operate from a state of high vibration, from power, not from force. Okay? I'll see you on the next one, my friend.